So peace in the Middle East has always been a holy grail of international diplomacy, but it seems to be fulfilled by a figure who is fulfilling a number of prophetic, declarations that have been made about the Antichrist so far. This man I've presented to you before seems to be acting as an intermediary, very apolitical figure. Seems to move very well between cultures. He seems to move very well between different interests. And if you see the relationships that he has forged with the different Arab nations, it's very interesting. And also, as we all know, when we think about the Antichrist, he is going to emerge from an explicit and a very declared way. He has to have an origin. We have to know his grandparents. We have to know where he came from. And that figure of the Antichrist has to be able to blend in with normality until suddenly all pieces fall into place and he takes his position. So I have presented to you this man, and I've said to you, let's watch this man, because so far he has accomplished one of the greatest challenges so far, which is finding peace in the Middle East. So when you look at the Abraham Accords, this man, Jared Kushner, seems to be at the center of something much, much bigger than just negotiation. If you heard him speak in the last videos I played, he was the central architect of the Accords, which obviously aim to bring lasting peace in the Middle East. And he is maintaining relations, like I said, with several of the leaders in the Arab nation, something that's actually very impossible for any diplomat. It's impossible, but he has been able to balance those relationships and negotiate. So let's listen to him talking a bit about what he was able to achieve. So this was a speech that he gave when Trump moved the US embassy from Tel Aviv, I think, to Jerusalem, which was a big, big deal as well. But again, he was orchestrating this move of the US embassy to Jerusalem, because remember, the center of the Antichrist is going to be Jerusalem, in another place as well, which you're going to see in this video. That will make you understand that he needs to have headquarters, right? So this is him speaking at that inauguration or the celebration of the move of the US Embassy to Jerusalem.
Synagogues that suffer through war, conflict, and neglect. As Israel turned 70, the search for a lasting peace, mosques and synagogues that suffer through war, conflict, and neglect. As Israel turned 70, the search for a lasting peace turns over a new leaf, one of realism and of not being afraid to stand strongly with our allies for what is good, for what is right, and for what is true. Thank you. When there is peace in this region, we will look back upon this day and remember that the journey to peace started with a strong America recognizing the truth. The pursuit of peace is the noblest pursuit of humankind. I believe peace is within reach if we dare to believe that the future can be different from the past, that we are not condemned to relive history, and that the way things were is not how they must forever be. It will not be an easy road, and it will be filled with difficult moments and tough decisions, but if we dream big, if we lead with courage, we can change the trajectory for millions from hopeless to boundless. This is a hope that many of us know personally. I am here today as a proud American and the grandson of Holocaust survivors. During World War II, my late grandparents, Ray and Joseph Kushner, fled their homes to the far.
I want to hear that story. Okay, let's listen to that origin story. What does he say about his origins? Okay, so let's listen.
This is a hope that many of us know personally. I am here today as a proud American and the grandson of Holocaust survivors. During World War II, my late grandparents Ray and Joseph Kushner fled their homes to the forests of Belarus to escape Nazi persecution. Somehow, they managed to resist the horrors and survive. After the war, they built a new life in America, a beacon of hope, a land of limitless opportunity. In my office in the White House, I keep a photo of them on my desk to remind me of how high the stakes are when nations fail to recognize right from wrong and the decisive power America has to tip the scales in favor of the righteous. Today, we take another historic step in that direction. I am confident that as a result, our nations will be stronger, our peoples more prosperous, and our futures filled with even greater promise for peace. May God bless you. May God bless Israel. May God bless the United States of America.
Okay, so that is the man talking about his origin story. So both sets of his parents, on the maternal side and on the paternal side, they were both Holocaust survivors. Okay, the paternal ones originated from Belarus. They migrated to America, and that is his origin story. Okay, so we need to know who this man is, and I really think we need to take a deeper look at who this man is. Okay, like I said, the Antichrist has to have a story as well. He has to look normal, go to school, uni and all that. So let's not just fall for our own image of what he is or what he should look like or what he can do. Okay, so let's understand him a little bit. So he is a Jew, as you could hear. He is a Jew, and he has also he actually is he's a practicing Jew, right? And some people say that he's from the tribe of Dan, which is interesting because the tribe of Dan is one of those ones that are excluded from the 144,000 sealed ones. So that tribe was not included. So there is a rumor there that he's possibly from that tribe, because their destiny as a tribe is obviously linked to the path of opposition, against the Christ, against the children of Israel. So those that are opposed to the divine plan, the tribe of Dan. So that's another thing that is said about Jared Kushner. Let me show you something else about this man that I know you are going to find very curious. Well, I think it is very curious. Why did he do this? Why did he make this investment? No, you'll find it here. Let's just talk.
President Trump's senior advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, will receive more than $400 million from a Chinese firm if the deal goes through, in a real estate deal that many experts are calling unusually favorable. The payout from the Arbang Insurance Group is part of a $4 billion deal at Kushner's Manhattan office tower at 666 Fifth Avenue. Bloomberg reports Arbang has links to the Chinese power.
So two things interesting from that clip there. Why are the Chinese investing that much money into him? He has a good relationship with China, as you can see. And then that is the interesting fact that I was talking about just now. He owns that building, that number 666 building in Manhattan. Okay, we'll hear a little bit more about that building just now. Okay.
structure, and that past investments by the company in New York real estate have drawn federal review. Lawrence Noble of the Campaign Legal Center said of the deal, quote, "At the very least, this raises serious questions about the appearance of a conflict that arises from the possibility that the Kushners are getting a sweetheart deal. A classic way you influence people is by financially helping their family," he wrote.
Kushner is a guy with a Twitter account, but no tweets, a cover story in Time with no interview. He once tiptoed past his wife as she was being interviewed.
Oh, come on, Jared. Come on. Come on, Jared. Oh, Jared, you can't just walk in and not say anything.
He used to.
The silent sidekick has finally found his voice.
It's working, and it's very exciting.
But Jared Kushner, who is now, perhaps the single most influential aide when you watch Trump on TV, Jared Kushner is almost always by his side. He's involved in seemingly everything.
He's, of course, married to Ivanka Trump.
Right. So Donald Trump's son-in-law, he was previously CEO of Kushner Companies, his family company that, is a multi-billion-dollar company, owns tons of real estate. He has stakes in other kinds of businesses. And typically government officials divest from their businesses, sell them off so they don't have conflicts of interest. But in the case of Kushner, he's actually keeping parts of his family real estate empire.
Okay, so did you understand that? When he came into the Oval Office to work as Trump's aide, an advisor in the Middle East, he didn't give up his company, his real estate company. He still owned it. And take a listen to this. He made this deal.
666 Fifth Avenue, a prime piece of New York City's skyline, just 6 blocks from Central Park. Jared Kushner decided to make it his trophy in 2007.
This was the deal that put Jared on the map.
As you point out, this deal involving this Chinese company Anbang and this large office tower in Midtown Manhattan, which Jared Kushner has divested from, but the family still owns it. So,
it's going to be one of the biggest real estate deals in history in the city.
Right. According to this deal sheet that Bloomberg obtained, I believe it values this one office building at over $2 billion, which is the highest amount ever.
And they paid something like $1 billion
for it in 2007? They paid about, I believe, 1.8 at I think the top of the market, and then it went through. There's been a sort of complicated series of transactions with this particular building.
In December of last year, President Trump announced to the world that the United States would finally recognize the truth, that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel.
Which Jared Kushner has divested from, but as you point out, this deal.
Okay. So he owns a building. He owns number 666. He made, actually, it says that he bought it from that, what's that? David, what's his name? The big Illuminati guy. That's the one that he bought that building from. And remember, it was even overestimated. It was overpriced, but he was willing to do everything to get that building, to own that building. And I've talked about the headquarters of the Antichrist. I believe that is going to be in New York, the headquarters of the Antichrist. Whereas in Jerusalem, he is also going to have that a headquarters in Jerusalem. So Jerusalem and New York are 2 key cities where I believe the Antichrist is going to be located. Why would the men pay for an overpriced building? Because he really wanted that address, that 666 address. Now, let's listen to, there's something interesting as well about this man. From 2009 to 2016, he was registered to vote as a woman. In other words, he identified himself as a woman. He was actually legally registered in the US to vote as a woman. I just told you that he seems to be fulfilling a lot of boxes, prophetic boxes. Oh, because let's look at Daniel 11. What does Daniel 11 say about the Antichrist? Okay, let's see. Let's read Daniel 11. Okay, so from verse 36, then the king shall do according to his own will. He shall exalt and magnify himself above every god shall speak blasphemies against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the wrath has been accomplished, for what has been determined shall be done. He shall neither regard, ye shall regard neither the God of his fathers, nor the desire for women. What does that say? Ye will have no desire for women. So possibly the whole marriage to Ivanka is a front. This could be just a front. Okay. What else does it say? It also says that, but in their place, in the place of the true God and women, he shall honor a God of fortresses, and a God which his fathers did not know, he shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus he shall act against the strongest fortresses with a foreign God, which he shall acknowledge and advance its glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many and divide the land for gain. He shall divide the land for gain. Okay, so he shall have no regard for women. So this is not a surprise, guys. I hope some of you are not sitting there and thinking, well, he's married, he's got children, so that means he loves to be married to a woman. A lot of men, well, let me not say a lot, some men, especially, I can't even say especially anyway, all over the world, they marry women, they have children as a front, so that they can, in the private, live out their lives, live out their fantasies. Is some of them like fantasize to be a woman. Like obviously, Jared Kushner wishes to, probably has a secret life as a woman. And if he's a woman, he's obviously a homosexual, and that fulfills that scripture in Daniel 11. So he's very charismatic. If you're able to have relationships with all these different Arab nations, that makes us think about Revelations 13 from verse 1, which talks about how the 10 kings are going to give their power to the beast. They will come from they will give that Antichrist their power. Why would they do that? Okay, so we really have to keep on watching this man. He says a lot more, and I'm just going to leave you listening to just some of the things that he has done, okay? So you can understand. So I'll see you in the next video, but like I said, take a look at this video and I'll see you in the next recording. But before I finish, this is something that is also very interesting, and I'm looking into this. I haven't really found any video evidence or anything, but I've just heard, from various sources that he is also involved in and interested in the building of the third temple. And apparently he has said that as soon as the peace agreement is signed, most likely this year, September, October, as soon as it is signed, his next assignment is going to be the building of the third temple. Hello? So who else is interested in doing that? Why would you be interested in the peace deal and then at the same time are interested in the building of the third temple? We are going to look at that third temple in detail so that you can understand that something fishy is going on. Something is going on, okay? So just take a look at some of the what he's been busy doing in the meanwhile. All right. Okay. It's not always easy. I think this is it. All right.
To go the way that they thought it would.
Presidential family member and White House aide Jared Kushner broke his silence today in his first extended TV interview since Trump was elected, a 43-minute discussion that was often boastful, sometimes defensive, and at several points, honestly, bizarre. Now, for context, before I break this down, here.
So remember what the presenter said. You can hear how he boasts sometimes about what he's accomplished so far, because he has to take that glory. He has to take the acknowledgement of the peace deal that he has signed so far, okay? And how he's most likely going to successfully build and work on the successful building of the Third Temple.
Here are some of the questions Kushner was presented with.
How did you get this job? I mean, it's like you have like the dopest job in the world, like the secretary of everything. Did the bug you when they call it secretary of everything? Are you having fun? Because all we hear about is the chaos and the destruction. And
as President Donald Trump prepares for his first major foreign trip next week to the Middle East, his administration is privately turning to a familiar face for help navigating the region. Jared Kushner. Now, the president's son-in-law was the chief Middle East negotiator during the president's first term. And now we're learning that he's informally advising some of the president's top administration officials, people like Steve Witkoff, on help with navigating how to talk to these Arab leaders. Now, one of the key goals for the president next week is to return home with economic agreements from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. But we're also learning that one of the more quiet, private goals that they're plotting behind the scenes is to try and expand on the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords was hammered out during the president's first term that essentially normalized diplomatic relationships between Israel and a number of Arab nations. Now, all of this comes as Jared Kushner.
Okay, so remember what he's doing. So he's not in the second administration, Trump's administration. He was active in the first one, then he took a back step. But what is he doing? He's actively working on expanding the Abraham Accords. And that Steve Witkoff that they talked about, he's the one who is now at the forefront in the second Trump administration. But in an interview with Jared, Steve Witkoff openly acknowledges that he was appointed by Jared. So he was appointed by Jared, and Jared is still the advisor behind Steve Witkoff. So Steve Witkoff is just a front, okay? The architect is still busy.
Does not want, we're told, a formal role in the Trump administration. Instead, he prefers to operate more behind the scenes in a quiet role.
I don't make a lot of noise. Noise is sometimes made about me, but I try to keep my head down.
Now, Jared Kushner is powerful but rarely heard. So it is revealing to hear his own assessment of his work so far, whether you agree with it or not. So here is how Kushner grades himself on the assignment of achieving peace in the Middle East.
The president asked me to do the Middle East peace process, which is something that I think we've made a lot of progress on. I'm as optimistic as you can be about that. I was given the Middle East peace process between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and I've dealt with a lot of the other regional partners in that effort.
In light of the attack, the Abraham Accords are more important than ever. Clearly, this is one of the hardest problem sets that's existed probably in geopolitics, but the end state has to look something like this, and it has to have two elements. Number one, Israel has to have the security to not be threatened by its neighbors and to be able to protect its citizens. That is absolutely crucial, is non-negotiable, and I do think a lot of the world agrees that that's something that should exist. The second element is that the Palestinian people have to have the opportunity to live a better life. And I think that if you go through...
And where are they going to live a better life? Out of Palestine. That is the solution that's been found in the Abraham Accords.
The element, it's not just saying let's create a state. It has to be a state that can function and thrive, because if you don't create that, then the people will, again, find ways to blame other people instead of the leadership that's putting it there.
So some of you don't understand that this flight was very significant. So this was, if you noticed, this was the first inaugural flight between Israel
other people instead of the leadership that's putting it there.
Okay, so you see, this is the first inaugural flight between Israel and the UAE. The success, these are the successes of the Abraham Accords. So if you hear saying that this thing is actually working now, peace is actually, being worked out. Even after this, you now have a lot of Israelis flying to Dubai for holidays. That did not exist before, prior to September 15, 2020, prior to the signing of the Abraham Accords. But so you see, they are working. That's why more countries are signing up. The Abraham Accords are being extended.
Mr. Jared, welcome to the UAE. How does this peace accord support peace and throughout the region? And my second question is, how did it feel to you personally? How did it feel to you?
That was Jared Kushner speaking with Harvard University's Middle East Initiative last year, and his comments were strikingly similar to what we heard from President Trump Tuesday about the U.S. taking over and rebuilding Gaza. Kushner is, of course, the president's son-in-law who took a leading role on Middle East policy during the first Trump administration.
If you are a single-issue voter on the question of the candidates having family members who trade on their name and influence to make lucrative foreign deals with governments that have adversarial relationships to the U.S., forget about Hunter Biden. That's piker stuff. Republicans have found nothing on him anyway. Your number one concern right now should be Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. A new deep dive on Kushner's foreign wealth investment firm in the New York Times covers the old classics like Jared's ties to the Chinese ambassador and a friendship with Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi crown prince, who later gave Jared's investment firm $2 billion against the advice of his own finance experts, like the board that reviews investments for the Saudi sovereign wealth fund. The Times goes further than that to show that as a once and possibly future Trump administration official, Jared Kushner is open for business everywhere. In total, 99% of the money placed with him by investors has come from foreign sources.
The president's senior advisor and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, played a key role brokering this agreement. He joins us now from the North Lawn of the White House.
That's very interesting. Did you hear that 99% of the investments into his company is coming from foreign investment? Okay, you might think, oh yeah, what's so special about that? These are investors that are signing up to, we're happy to sign up to the Abraham Accords or the conditions of the Abraham Accords. So just because Saudi Arabia hasn't signed yet, it's clearly going to sign in because look, they've already given him $2 billion.
White House. Good morning, Jared. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, George.
This agreement has the potential to be a truly transformational event in the Middle East. Even experts who've been critical of President Trump in the past, like Tom Friedman, call it a major breakthrough. So can you explain what does it mean for U.S. national security? Why is it happening now?
Yes, thank you, George. Great to be with you. So this is the first peace agreement that happened in the Middle East in the last 26 years. This is between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Then just last week, President Trump announced the second peace agreement that he was able to broker in 29 days. So we have two peace agreements being signed today at the White House between Israel and Arab countries. This really signals the end, we believe, of the Arab-Israeli conflict. There's still a lot more work to do, but for 70 years in the region, you've had the Arab countries not wanting to interact with Israel in a substantive way. This has led to a lot of people using hatred to do extremism, which has led to terrorism all throughout. And America over the last 20 years has been very, very distracted with the Middle East. We've had hundreds of thousands of troops that have been through the Middle East. We've obviously had a lot of terror that we've had threats coming to America. So bringing peace to that region allows us to focus more here domestically and create less risk to America and obviously bring our troops home, which is something that President Trump's been doing.
It has not ended the conflict between the Israel and the Palestinians. The Palestinians calling this a betrayal. Are there hopes for a state now, Dad?
No, look, I think that there's a lot of posture, right? In deals, everyone's at no until they're at yes. And I think what you're seeing is tremendous movement.
Okay, so that's the man. And I'm going to show you this last video. I find it very no, it's not interesting actually. It's sad because something sinister is really happening in the background concerning these elites, because obviously he's an elite. If he really is the Antichrist, he is the son of Lucifer. It means the seed of Satan is in this man. And obviously, by now, if he really is the Antichrist that's going to sign the peace agreement at the end of this year, September, October, he already has a government in place. They are already working on the mark of the beast. Listen.
And then finally, I think that from the last year. The one thing I've tried to put a priority on since I left the White House was getting some exercise in. I think that there's a good probability that my generation is, hopefully with the advances in science, either the first generation to live forever or the last generation that's going to die. And so we need to keep ourselves in pretty good shape. And then the other thing
the first generation that's going to live forever, the first generation that will never die, really. But this is a very important point that he's making in that selling point. This is going to be part of the offer of the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast will offer you life eternal. You are going to live forever. Take it. Not only is it monitoring your health, making sure that it corrects anything that is wrong, it gives an alert system. If maybe there's something wrong with your kidney here or with your liver here, you need to take the mark of the beast. It monitors everything about you. And most importantly, you will live forever. You will never die. That billions of people are going to take the mark of the beast based on that lie. And you can hear this man already telling you that he really believes that he is going to be part of the generation that's going to live forever. So take your you take it to the Lord, pray about it, because honestly, if he is the one, we don't have time as a church. We really don't have time as the church, and maybe there is really something that we need to consider in terms of the Lord's coming in the rapture. If you listen to the number of rapture dreams worldwide, they are like on the rise. The Lord is giving so many people dreams of the rapture, non-stop. Why? Because that's the Father communicating with his children that I am coming. Not even I'm coming. I've stopped saying Jesus is coming, but Jesus is on his way. He's already on his way. That's why the Lord is telling us, I'm coming, get ready. I'm coming, get ready. So this man, wherever he appears, somewhere, anywhere on the news, Christians, let's keep our ears open. Let's see what this man is doing. Because for me, the only things that I'm interested in now is what happens when, which other countries are going to sign up to the Abraham Accords? Is Saudi included? And when does that happen? Which other countries are left? Because as soon as they all sign, that's it. That is the peace deal. Because remember, they are already benefiting from the Abraham Accords, the countries that have signed with Israel. Israel is an economic power in the Middle East. So countries that are signing up are already benefiting. Okay? So once every country signs up, that is it. Your false peace is coming to place. And as believers, we cannot afford to be deceived. And I've mentioned this before. How is it possible then that you get the main Christian networks, and I'm talking CBN, TBN, how is it that they're celebrating the Abraham Accords? Are you sure the Lord said, when he said pray for the peace of Jerusalem, he meant we should be praying for the peace that is brought into force by the Antichrist? I've told you before, no. When he said pray for the peace of Jerusalem, he meant when the man of peace, came and revealed himself as Yeshua to the Israelites. That is why we are supposed to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. So why are these key Christian broadcasting networks celebrating, monitoring the Abraham Accords? Oh, we signed up. We should be watching with a worry eye, like, okay, who is signing up now? Who's next? Who's next? We need to be really knowing that something is going on there, because that is not the peace that the Lord wants us to pray for. Okay, so watch this space, watch this man. Whatever he does, let's watch it. Okay, so again, give your life to the Lord. If you are just living your life, enjoying, your holidays, making your future plans. Next year, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go on holiday here. Well, careful about your investments. I watch people, spending hours and hours running, investing into their physical bodies. The physical body is going to die and rot in the ground. But you have a spirit man that will live for forever. You have your spirit man does not die. And what investment are you making into it? Nothing. And how can you make an investment the most valuable investment into your spirit, man? Give your life to Jesus. That's the best investment that you can do for yourself. Because what do you get in exchange? True eternal life, not the false eternal life that's going to be sold, by these elites through the mark of the beast. In Hollywood, guys, they are already drinking these juices that are made to make them look young and they become very successful in secret societies, in secret parties. If you want to be successful, they are telling these Hollywood actors and actresses that if you want to make it, if you don't want to die, you can actually drink. What do they call it? I don't remember, golden juice or something. But another name for it is adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is a juice that they are offering. And the promise of that drink is that you will live forever, you won't die. And people who have taken it, actors and actresses who have taken it, seem to have a glow to them. Like there's something about them that looks different, like eternal, like they're not going to die. They are looking very healthy, and then their careers are shooting off. There is a post about one woman who refused to take it. And now, obviously, if you refuse to take the juice, your career is ending. You're not going anywhere. So it's already on offer. So that capacity in adrenochrome, or let me tell you the horrible part about adrenochrome. Apparently, it's made from harvesting the blood of innocent children, only in a heightened sense of fear. So they take these innocent kids, make them so terrified. And when they are really terrified, then they sacrifice them and harvest their blood. And that's where they're making this adrenochrome from. Guys, the world is wicked. It's wicked. This is why the Bible says the Spirit and the bride, we need to pray for the coming of our Lord, because the world is wicked. Children are being tortured beyond belief. So you can imagine that people make this adrenochrome from the blood of these innocent children who are killed at their most intense fear. What are they doing to them? It just breaks your heart. So please, again, give your life to Jesus today. Don't waste your time. It's as simple as you asking the Lord, Lord, come into my heart now. I give you my heart. I surrender my life to you. I don't know you. Reveal yourself to me. All I know and all I'm hearing now is you are Creator God. You are the Son of God. You came to earth to save us. You came to die for us on the cross. That's all you need to do. And you mean it from the bottom of your heart. And then after that, find a church that teaches in the Bible, that uses the true Bible, that preach from the Bible. Otherwise, you will get deceived again. Okay, be blessed. Find Jesus. And if you're a Christian who's living a double life, repent. You don't have time to waste. Okay, take care.